To my young ones, man, what does that mean? So about a few months back, maybe 6 or 7 months back, had a conversation with my niece. My niece is 21 years old. I know plenty of you probably have had plenty of conversations with, some young people. And if you're a young person, you probably have had this conversation with some older folks. But my niece called me up one day and said, "Uncles, we never talk." They call me uncles, by the way, you guys, because my name is Solomon. My nieces and nephew couldn't say Uncle Solomon, so they shortened it to uncles. Yes, so I'll be referring to myself as uncles in this particular smart tip. So I digress. Anyway, so she called me up and said, "Uncles, I need to talk to you." I'm like, "All right, cool, yeah, come over. We have a conversation." So she came over. I think it was the next day or a couple of days later, and she you can tell she was upset. And I was like, "What do you want to talk about?" She said, "Just talk about life." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm always down for that." And she was like, I was like, "What's up?" She said, "Uncles, I'm not where I want to be in life." And I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" I try to ask questions. I try not to judge. I try to be open minded enough about what somebody's talking about. I'm not always great, but I do my best to ask questions to understand. That's the only way I'm going to understand. So she was like, "Well, I'm not here. I don't have this. I don't have this. I'm not at this job." And I was like, "Okay." So I asked another question. I said, "How old are you?" She was like, 21. I was like, "I mean, how old are you again?" She said 21. And I was like, "Well, let's just say this. And I could be wrong. We could get hit by a bus or get a disease. God forbid any of those things happen." I said, "Let's just say that you live to 80 years old, at least 80 years old." I said, "How old are you again?" She's like, 21. I said, "From 21 to 80, how long is that?" She was like, "About 60 years." I was like, I was like, "Wait a minute. How old are you again?" She said, 21. I was like, "If you live to 80 years?" I said, "Well, if you look at that, that's three of your lifetimes. Three of your lifetimes. You just started beginning to live. There's a lot that you don't understand. I thought you do understand it. I want to undervalue young people because they bring a lot of value. And I hope that everybody understands that they do because they teach you a lot of things that you don't know or you're out of touch with if you are older than them or if you're younger than them. They can teach you. Anyway, so I said, you have another three lifetimes. How do you know where you want to be in life? I said, you're going to look back at this 10, 20 years from now and laugh about at 21 years old that you know exactly where you want to be. That's tough to try to put that type of pressure on yourself. I remember being that age and having that pressure and looking and understanding that, nah, that's not the type of pressure that you need to put on yourself. So I know I told her, I said, "I know you see a lot of people on social media, young people on social media, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, if they're on Facebook. I know that's an older generation that you see them doing well and making a lot of income. And I said, income doesn't always equate to a life that you want to live, or they may have accomplished a lot, but that doesn't mean you live a fulfilled life. Then you see that and you think you should be here, and that's you're comparing. And I'm going to get into comparing it later in another smart tip, but you're comparing, and that's kind of stealing your joy about what's going on with your life. I was like, "It's good that you're aware of this now," because I wasn't really aware of it till later, a little older than she was. But now the fact that you think this way, you can now start doing something about it, meaning you can start taking the steps. You can start reading the books. So I started suggesting to her reading some books, looking at some YouTubes, uh, you know, let's stay in contact and communication about what she wants to do. And she has all these resources to do it, to understand. And don't ever think that you can't do it. Understand that you have enough patience, is what I'm saying to her. Have enough patience with yourself to give yourself the room to grow, room to fail and fail forward, because that's the way you're going to learn to be where you want to be. Like I said, you're going to look back at this and you're going to laugh. I always just say, however you want to grow and ever want to be in life, have enough patience and mercy and grace to for yourself to allow yourself to get there, and you will get there. That's all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching Smart Tips. I will see you guys a little later.